Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're playing a Control Blood list by Spiky Bits. This has been slightly adjusted because I don't have abysses. I filed those a while back when Abyss was first nerfed and haven't ever actually got any more or bothered to craft them. So I'm running double Blood Hungry Matriarch, which is still one of my favourite cards, mainly because the art is stellar and the effect is actually pretty cool. Maybe a little underrated, but still a great card, and I think it works well in place of Abyss because it does deal with wide boards, whereas Abyss doesn't, while still getting some damage in and clearing pretty much. Whereas Abyss more so is just a pure damage dealer, so they serve slightly different purposes in regards to how they function, but they can get some really good value out of both of them. This is also a 7-drop, whereas Abyss is an 8-drop, so while this does collide with Emeralda on 7, it also means you can combine it with something like Diabolic Drain on 8 and get some extra value that way. So it's just a different card that serves a close enough purpose to Abyss that you could run this. I normally swap this out in every single Abyss deck that I find for Blood anyway, unless it is particularly a Abyss list that requires it to win, whereas this one doesn't, so it's great. So we'll get right into some games and check it out. So these games can be pretty long and crazy, so we'll just have to wait and see how we go. I mean, being a control deck does mean longer games, which in turn will mean a longer video for you guys, so I at least hope you guys can enjoy it. Hungering Horde off the bat is good. Bahamut and Diablos, not so great for your opener. You're really looking for cards like these lower ones that you can hit really hard. Revelations is okay because Blood Moon on 3 means Revelations is available on 4. We also do get the Mask of Black Death, a great card still. Okay, where can we go with this? That's the question. We got Bahamut off the top. That's a good 2-drop. That's kind of what you want if Dragon's playing nothing their turn. And a Mushu, so most likely a more aggressive Dragon list. We're looking at PDK or Storm Dragon or something of the sort. So clearing out their low damage is important, and we should be able to use Mask of Black Death and such to block out any of those big Storm plays that they could potentially do. I also avoided the Blood Moon earlier. Didn't really see that I'd need it too much, and we can use the Diabolic Drain now. Even though it is pretty useless and it's only being used to clear, we could have used it there. But holding it obviously is a little better, especially since they did play Lyriel. I mean, you kind of want something like Diabolic and Revelations to clear out PDKs. But we have plenty of targetable damage and AoE damage for this deck, which is nice. Good amount of draw power as well, which can work in your favour. And you can create pretty much a curve from anything nearly. As long as you don't completely brick your opener, it's not too hard to curve into any single set of cards that you want. At least from my play experience so far. So they're going to get the trade on the Belf, and that card is an amazing animate. Wow. They do get a couple of hits on my face, kind of disappointed in that. But we should be able to pick up a pretty easy heal, send us back to max. And at this stage, really we're just kind of playing the field until we can win. The Revelations is still perfect, Blood Moon acts for a long time, and Emeraldas are going to work really well for storm damage. So just between the Emeraldas here and the Temptress Vampire, we've actually got a very, very close lethal. Actually, I think it will be, yeah, 1 off. So we'll be 1 off with those. Provided they don't heal, of course, which, being a Dragon deck, they can run some pretty good healing. But being able to force stuff isn't too bad at all. Although we do lose Blood Moon, which means our Emeralda now is kinda useless this turn.
Let's take it easy next time.
Definitely worth just getting rid of those. To set up a Mask of Black Death, which will block out any big swing turns they might have. It has to be a Storm Dragon deck at this point, seeing Dark Dragoon Forte. I don't think you would see that for the PDK decks, but it was good because it did block out that necessary damage there. And Revelations picks this up fairly easily. Even though it would have been better if I could have been in Vengeance for that, I think it all worked out just fine. Especially since if they do fill the board again, Bahamut next turn is going to absolutely cripple this dragon. It'll make it very hard for him to come back. And there's Hippogriff Rider. And a nice smooth Bahamut drop. So if Bahamut sticks to the board, Temptress Vampire is an instant win. Diablos would be very, very close too. Even if Bahamut doesn't stick though, we're going to be in a pretty positive position. They are looking for something though, trying to dig out whatever they can, and happens to be Phoenix Rider. Rider. Not doing much else there though, honestly.
Your futile existence has no
But because they did put us in Vengeance, at least Diablos, it does become active, which does allow us to clean them up and push Bahamut, so really clear that we had that victory there. Next up, we are against Rune. These Rune decks are quite difficult sometimes. I mean, Daria is not too bad for this deck because it does have enough kind of clears and big damage and heals, so you can do a pretty solid matchup against those. But the decks like Chimera Shift, which I'm pretty sure is the case for this deck, is extremely awkward of a matchup. Those Chimera turns can be absolutely devastating if you're not careful. You really need to plan those Master of Black Deaths out perfectly and get a little bit lucky. So we don't have anything in our opener, which makes stuff really difficult to play. They have a pretty much perfect curve out here. At least we did get Blood Moon, which means these Diabolic Drains can now see some play. So at least we do have options going forward. But all they do is draw. Kind of disappointing. Especially when we don't draw anything. So that Blood Moon just basically was wasted a turn. It's kind of disappointing to really have that happen. Like, poor Blood Moon. Conjure Golem. I'm really just going to get picked off pretty easily. I mean, Conjure Golem isn't really a threat.
Go! Go!
We decide to use the Pure Hearted Singer for that though, removing it. Just so I can keep my Diabolic Drains. Because I know that if they were going to be playing a D-Shift deck, you really want some way to counteract them. And at this point in the game, I wasn't sure whether they were D-Shift or whether they were Daria.
You're done for.
It can be very hard to tell in the very early stages of a match if they don't play something that's extremely common. But at least since we did save those, we are going to be able to remove that owl pretty quickly. And we do happen to get Terror Demon as well. I do like a little Terror Demon. So another spell, Mysterious Knowledge. Perfect draw off it too. But they are going for another owl, so their spell boosting is absolutely crazy. And since Blood Moon is going to be inactive next turn, a little disappointing. But Blood Hungry, perfect draw off the top, is going to pick this up. Gives us just 1 damage. Again, Blood Hungry works well though as a threat, which is why I'm pushing the Evolve on it. I wanted to make sure that if they did play Daria and they did play Oglas or something going into next turn, which is what I expected considering we saw the Owl, that they wouldn't be able to clear this quickly and easily. Obviously Windblast does do it, and they just happen to have that, but if it was Daria, more likely than not we would have seen a follower push, and I didn't want an evolved Ogla to kill out my Matriarch. I would have rather they evolved into Daria and then allowed me to pick that off quickly. So again, another Owl being absolutely devastating. 3 Owls, 3 Evolves. What a nightmare.
Ow.
And a Nova Flare. It's got to be a bad way to play it. This is where I started thinking this has to be a D-Shift deck at this point.
Your life to me.
So I do throw out the 5/5. I think that's a solid play. It gives us a little bit of health back that we're probably going to need and allowed us to hit the Runecraft player right into the face. Of course, Chimera for 16 damage plus the 5 there would have been 21 damage had I not blocked out some of that. Absolutely crazy. At least with the cards we have, we can do a little bit of heal and block power, and Mask stops the second Chimera turn extremely well. It's these sort of plays that you've got to get slightly lucky, but at the same time, you've also got to be able to plan out some of your plays. So once I saw a Chimera and I knew they were going for Chimera Shift, I knew I couldn't afford a second one. So all I could do was just block as hard as possible with these Mask of Black Deaths. So I do get another Temptress, which is great. I mean, all the health I can get back, the better. And if we can force out more removal like Chimera, it's going to be hard for them.
Here comes some real
Of course, they do
magic.
play the D shift for full 10 cost. Mainly just looking to obviously spell boost their turn. This is the interesting part. If you had Chimera, I would have expected them to throw Mask back, but then at the same time, Chimera costs so much that you can't throw the Mask back and Chimera in the same turn. Really nice little structure for that, meaning they have to leave these Mask of Black Deaths up, or find a way to remove them outside of it. So I do go for the Bahamut play. Why? Because I'm putting pressure on the board with them only having 9 health and nothing on board at the moment. I felt that Bahamut was going to be my best bet at trying to secure lethal as quickly as possible. But of course, doesn't pay off as well as I want. Wind Blast picking up the Bahamut. But we did get Belt, which is actually really good. And it also means I got to trigger my Mask of Black Death for free and play another one straight out, meaning they can't try and come up with some shenanigan to deal 1 damage for 1 cost and play Chimera straight off the top. Or use D-Shift in that regard. Actually, thinking about it, D-Shift, Bounce, Chimera would have been the only play that would have been effective against my Mask of Black Death. Because it means it would have overskipped my turn. Also, Hungering Horde against these are perfect. I mean, we're going to get another heap of damage to their face this turn. And I also throw out the Scarlet just to get a little bit of health back and to put more board pressure out. But Mutagenic Bolt does kind of ruin that. It's also going to cripple the Mask of Black Death just a little bit, making my life just that slight bit harder. At this point, all we really need to get is as much as we can in damage, which is why Bahamut was actually okay, because it means the tiny little rat can't proc this Black Death. Although they do have a second muta, so that's always great. Very interesting deck. The Chimera Shift really kept me on my toes this whole matchup. But that Blood Moon does secure our victory with Emeralda. So honestly, all I needed to wait out was until I could get some way to trigger Emeralda's effect for cheap enough.
Looks like Yuwan.
So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. This deck has been great fun in Unlimited. It's pretty much perfect for the current meta. I have only lost, I think, 2 games out of 8 that I've actually played with this deck, which is pretty reasonable so far. It gives me a good idea on where I'm going with this deck forward, so I think I'll continue to play this in my free time on ladder, especially in Unlimited, maybe just to pick out dailies or really just for any reason, because it's just a fun deck to play. I really enjoy the Control Blood decks. While yes, they're very dragged out, it's kind of a playstyle that I enjoy sometimes. I like both the aggro and control styles. I'm not a big fan of the kind of mid-range or combo style decks, but these sort of ones really pique my interest, so hopefully guys will check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below to this deck. As always, you can hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.